since the introduction of the naira redesign policy, it has not been an easy ride for President Muhammadu Buhari, who has come under heavy criticism for serving governors, some of whom are from his party and other Nigerians. As it stands, President Muhammadu Buhari has apologized to Nigerians over the untold hardship caused by the now unpopular monetary policy of Godwin Emefiele-led Central Bank of Nigeria. The president is now begging citizens to vote for the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate in Kaduna State. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde reports.
Clearly, President Muhammadu Buhari now understands the damage the CBN-imposed cash swap policy deadline has done to his party and how it threatened its chances on the ballot. In a viral broadcast done in Hausa to raise support for the APC governorship candidate in Kaduna State, the president apologized for the unintended hardship caused. He says it was done to boost the economy of the country. This poorly implemented policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria is now an albatross President Muhammadu Buhari may have to carry for the remaining weeks in the life of his administration. What started with a supposed good intention soon became a nightmare for Nigerians who are victims of a poorly implemented policy that ripped off the cash in their pockets. The cash swap policy was considered as more political than its benefit on the economy. This set Mr. President against his men, the governors of the All Progressives Congress, and it also riled up the citizens against the federal government. What was most shocking for many was the defiance of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the governor, who clearly became infamous for not backing down and properly advising the president. President Muhammadu Buhari had also acknowledged in an earlier broadcast that the policy caused untold hardship for many Nigerians. He pleaded for understanding. He also approved the recirculation of the old 200 naira notes just to ease the difficulties. Now the Supreme Court has ruled against the President and the Central Bank of Nigeria. But it is unclear how soon the old naira notes will be immediately pumped into circulation, and the restriction to accessing cash in the banks will be lifted. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
We're now being joined live by TVC News' Femi Akonde, who has been monitoring developments in the State House, Abuja, shortly after the Supreme Court judgment on the naira policy. Also joining us shortly via Zoom is the former second vice president, Nigerian Bar Association, Monday Obani, who will be joining us live from Lagos. Let's first get to Femi. Femi, tell us the mood of the presidency after that judgment, because the judgment described the president's nationwide broadcast as an act of a dictator. Are we expecting compliance this time?
Well, Abasade, the presidency for now is silent on the matter, but we know that the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has said that the presidency will comply with the judgment of the Supreme Court, that they are just waiting to hear what the Supreme Court will rule on the matter, and that they are ready to comply with that judgment. I reached out to the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, and he advised that we should reach out to the Attorney General of the Federation because he is the most competent to speak on this matter. You'll recall that he is the one that challenged the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to hear this matter when the three governors took the federal government to court over the deadline imposed by the Central Bank of Nigeria on the currency swap policy. So we're also yet to hear from the hear from the Attorney General Abubakar Malami. Apart from what we have heard in the past, that the federal government will stick to the Supreme Court order. But you know, apart from that, there have been other political statements coming from the National Vice Chairman Southwest of the All Progressives Congress, calling for the resignation of the Attorney General of the Federation and also calling for the resignation of the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. You know, a lot of them are looking at this as more political, and they don't see any economic sense, they don't even see this policy as something that would improve the economy, especially as it has inflicted so much hardship on the populace. They say all monetary policies should be people-friendly, unlike what the CBN, led by Godwin Emefiele, introduced with the cash swap policy. Ambassador.
Indeed, Femi, and we probably saw the impact of this policy in last Saturday's election, where residents of Abuja actually voted in protest against the governing APC. Do you think this apology will restore the goodwill of the administration in the next round of elections?
Well, to a large extent, it might restore the goodwill of the administration because it's an admittance on the part of the federal government and indeed President Muhammad Buhari that these policy was poorly implemented. You know that initially President Muhammad Buhari begged for 7 days to study the implementation of the policy, in which he said that if indeed it is established that this policy is poorly implemented and has failed, then there might be a reversal or some kind of extension in the deadline. But you know, the governors that dragged the federal government to the Supreme Court did not wait for the expiration of that 7 days that the president begged for. But you know, overall, the president has come to admit that indeed this policy was not entirely successful. If you look at the untold hardship it has caused for the people, the governors are now even calling it currency confiscation and not a currency swap. And that is also what the Supreme Court said, that they do not know any law in the country that gives the Central Bank of Nigeria powers to withhold the cash of depositors, to restrict access to cash. And you know, they have also called for a lifting of that restriction imposed by the central bank. But we hope that, you know, moving into the next governorship election, the president's apology will be able to maybe sway some kind of vote and support and also sympathy for the government of the day, because, you know, the people are saying that this initiative by the Central Bank of Nigeria and indeed the governor of the Central Bank was politically motivated, targeted at some political party, at a certain political party and its presidential candidate. And it seems as if the president is also beginning to align
there's a lot to say on this,
that insinuation.
But I'm afraid that's the much, yes, that's the much time would permit us to take. 11th of March is almost here. Thank you very much for that update. Femi Akode for us there in the nation's capital, Abuja.